Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, during this trial you will learn about a little girl who had no clue just how important she would become. You will see the unfair world she was born into, where boys were valued more than girls, where women were not encouraged to achieve and aspire. You will see evidence of that unfairness just as she herself has seen it all of her life. Here are the facts of her case. Ruth Bader was born on March 15, 1933, the daughter of two Jewish parents whose families had fled Europe for Brooklyn, New York to escape anti-Jewish persecution. Her father owned a fur shop for many years. When the shop went out of business, he got a job at a clothing store. He was uneducated. He had never finished high school. Ruth's mother graduated from high school at the age of 15, smart enough that she might have gone to college, but at this point in history, girls were discouraged from going to college. So Ruth's mother got a job to help pay for her brother's college education. Next came marriage and a husband who discouraged her from working outside the home. Like many men of this time, he thought a woman's place was in the home. This was what Ruth saw as a girl. What Ruth also saw was a mother who loved books and loved to read, and a mother who wanted her daughter to have the good education that she herself had been denied. She saw a mother who saved every penny she could for her daughter to someday go to college. Once a week, Ruth's mother dropped her off at the local library, which was above a Chinese restaurant, and left her there while she was getting her hair done. Surrounded by books and the smell of Chinese food, Ruth was able to choose 3 books. She loved mythology and this all happened in Brooklyn, which has long been home to lots of Jewish families and businesses. Brooklyn has also been home to anti-Jewish violence and vandalism. During the 1930s and the 1940s, to be Jewish in America was to know anti-Semitism. We now offer into evidence anti-Semitism experienced firsthand by Ruth. A sign outside a resort in Pennsylvania, seen from her parents' car, it said, "No dogs or Jews allowed." This happened right here in America. Being smart can be a great defense against such meanness and stupidity, and Ruth was one smart cookie. She tied for highest grades in her elementary school, where she wrote an essay about Magna Carta and the Bill of Rights called Landmarks of Constitutional Freedom, evidence of an early interest in law. This is not to say that she always knew what she wanted to be. In high school, Ruth had many interests and hobbies: editing the school newspaper, playing the cello in the orchestra, and even twirling a baton at football games, and once chipped a tooth in the process. The day on which Ruth graduated from high school with honors promised to be a glorious day. She ranked 6th out of a class of 700, and she had won a New York State scholarship for college. But Ruth was nowhere to be seen at the ceremony. That's because she stayed home. Ruth's mother had been ill with cancer for 4 years, and on that very day Ruth was to graduate, her mother died. Instead of wearing a cap and gown and being honored, Ruth was mourning the death of the person she loved most in the world, the person whose dream was to see Ruth go on to college and become an independent woman. There was only one thing for Ruth to do. Suitcase in hand, she arrived at Cornell University, the same university her mother's brother had gone to, the same university her mother might have gone to, had she been encouraged. It was 1950 and very few girls went to college. At Cornell, male students outnumbered female students 4-1. For every girl to get into Cornell, she had to be very smart, but she had to pretend not to be smart if she wanted a boy to ask her out on a date. She could not be seen studying. This was a problem for Ruth, who was a very serious student. Her solution was to do her studying in the bathroom where no boys could see her. That is just how things were. And then along came Martin Ginsburg. Martin was different from any other boy she had met. He liked that she had a brain, and Ruth was different from any girl he'd met. She had dreams of having a career, of being independent. She spoke when she had something interesting to say, and she was always listening, always thinking, always learning. In her constitutional law class, Ruth learned about freedom of speech and freedom of press, freedoms all Americans are guaranteed in the Constitution. She learned about the senior named Joseph McCarthy, who was trying to take away these important rights, and brave lawyers who were fighting him in court. Learning about these lawyers made Ruth want to become one. She believed she could be a good lawyer and support herself. But the decision to become a lawyer was not an easy one for a woman to make in 1954. There were very few female lawyers in America. Ruth's own father discouraged her from going to law school because he believed she couldn't get a job. Besides, her place was in the home. Ruth refused to listen to her father. She saw no reason why she should not become a lawyer. She was just as smart and capable as any man. Her verdict was final. She would go to law school, but first she would get married to her first and only love, Martin Ginsburg. And you can finish the rest of the story on your own.